lalaki sa China nakaiwas mula sa humaharurot na tricycle.
Saan naman kaya nanggaling ang sasakyan? Na ang ibang detalye po ating aalamin maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki Alagao Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Huwebes.
Dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte nasa kustodiya na ng International Criminal Court.
Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte naghain ng petition for habeas corpus sa Korte Suprema.
Kondisyon ng Russia para sa Ukraine peace deal, inihain na.
Italy niyanig ng magnitude 4.4 na lindol.
At flight ng Crew 10 patungong International Space Station naudlot dahil sa problema sa hydraulic system.
Hydraulic system.
Ng International Criminal Court o ICC si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte matapos itong dumating sa Rotterdam Airport hatid ng chartered flight nito mula Dubai.
Dinala ang dating Pangulong Duterte sa International Criminal Court Penitentiary Institution para doon maghintay para sa kanyang paglilitis. Mula sa airport, agad na inihatid si former President Rodrigo Duterte sa Scheveningen Prison sakay ng isang itim na sasakyan at ilang police mobile escorts. Sumalubong naman sa convoy ang grupong mga supporters habang isinisigaw ang kanilang hangaring ibalik ang dating Pangulo sa Pilipinas. Inaresto si Duterte sa bisa ng warrant of arrest na ipinalabas ng ICC kung saan siya nahaharap sa kasong crime against humanity dahil sa umunoy extrajudicial killings sa war on drugs ng kanyang administrasyon. Samantala, inihanda ng ICC ang inisyal na pagharap ni Duterte at subsequent judicial proceedings sa harap ng korte. Tinukoy ni ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan nitong nakaraang buwan pa niya sila nagsumite ng aplikasyon para sa warrant of arrest sa dating Pangulo para panagutin ito sa mga krimeng nangyari sa drug war ng Duterte administration.
The office has been investigating the situation of the Philippines for some time in relation to the so-called war on drugs. Last month, under the supervision of Deputy Prosecutor Mathay, the team submitted a warrant application to the judges of the pretrial chamber. The judges have issued that warrant and it's been executed. And in issuing the warrant, the judges have found reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Duterte has committed the crime of murder as the founder, as the head of the so-called Davao death squad, as the mayor of Davao City, and then later as the president of the Philippines between 2011 and 2019.
Samantala, nagbigay naman ng mensahe ang dating Pangulo sa kanyang mga taga-suporta bago siya lumapag sa Rotterdam.
To my countrymen, just to give you the current situation, I am about to land sa Hague. Galing ako Dubai, stopover for it's a long haul, it's a long flight. Okay ako, do not worry. And I think this is something to do with the law and order noon. At sinasabi ko naman sa mga pulis at military na trabaho kayo at ako ang managot. So ito na nga. For all of the whatever happened in the past, ako na yung nag-front sa ating law enforcement pati military. Sinabi ko na
Samantala, nagbigay ng consular assistance ang Embahada ng Pilipinas sa The Hague kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte matapos siyang arestuhin at dalhin sa kustudiya ng International Criminal Court o ICC dahil sa kasong crimes against humanity. Naghatid ang embahada ng winter clothing, mga pamalit na damit at care packages para sa dating Pangulo. Ibinigay din ng embahada kay Duterte ang mga contact details ng mga opisyal nito para sa anumang karagdagang konsular na pangangailangan. Samantala, nagbigay ang Netherlands ng 2-day visa sa kanyang nurse at aide, habang 15-day visa naman para kay dating Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea bilang kanyang legal counsel para makapagpahinga muna bago bumalik ng Pilipinas. Dinala po si dating Pangulong Duterte sa Scheveningen Prison bandang 7:34 ng gabi matapos dumating sa Rotterdam, The Hague Airport.
Habang nililitis ng International Criminal Court o ICC ang umano'y nagawang crimes against humanity ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, silipin nga natin kung saan mananatili si Duterte sa The Hague. Sa detention unit na ito na kung tawagin ay Scheveningen Prison Facility, dadalhin ng dating Pangulo, ito ay isang coastal detention unit na malapit sa labas ng The Hague. Ayon sa media sources, dito rin ikinulong ang ilang mga dating leader na sinampahan ng kaso ng ICC. Makakasama nga umano ni Duterte ang dating Pangulo ng Kosovo na si Hashim Thaçi na naghihintay sa kanyang war crimes trial. Kasama rin ng dalawang leader ang convicted Serb war criminal na si Ratko Mladic na napatunayang guilty sa kasong genocide sa Bosnia. Dahil detention unit pa lamang ito, may access sa mga detainees sa mas maraming pasilidad bago ang kanilang conviction. Ilan sa mga pribilehiyo ni Duterte ay conjugal visits at outdoor exercises. Maaari ring konsultahin ng dating Pangulo ang kanyang legal team na walang nagmomonitor. Pwede ring tumanggap ng iba pang bisita si Duterte gaya ng ministro o spiritual advisor. May mga basic medical facilities din at staff nurse sa Scheveningen unit, pero ayon sa ilang defense lawyers, may mga pagkakataon na mahirap ding kumuha ng medical care. May access din ang mga suspect sa gym, library at kusina. Pwede silang magluto ng sarili nilang pagkain at magpabili ng groceries. May mga materyales din para sa crafts and painting at may access din ang mga suspect sa computer para sa legal research. Samantala, sa mga susunod na araw ay dadalhin ng dating Pangulo sa korte para sa initial appearance kung saan idedetalye ang mga aligasyon laban sa kanya. Maaari siyang bigyan ng counsel de officio ng korte o maaari ring mamili si dating Pangulong Duterte ng sarili niyang abogado.
Naghain din ng petition for habeas corpus si Davao 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte sa Korte Suprema kaugnay ng pagkaaresto sa ama nitong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Hiniling ng kongresista na mapalaya ang kanyang ama sa anyay illegal confinement and detention. Dapat din anyang mag-issue ang Korte Suprema ng Temporary Restraining Order o Writ of Preliminary Injunction upang atasan ang gobyerno na itigil ang pakikipagtulungan sa International Criminal Court o ICC at maging sa Interpol. Giit po ng mambabatas, paglabag sa konstitusyon at soberenya ng Pilipinas ang ginawang pagsisilbi ng gobyerno ng arrest warrant mula sa ICC dahil kumalas na ang Pilipinas sa Rome Statute noong pangtaong 2019. Respondent sa petisyon sina Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla at PNP Chief Romel Marbil. Naghain din ng mga hiwalay na petisyon ang mga anak ng dating Pangulo na sina Kitty Duterte at Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte sa Korte Suprema kahapon. Dahil po dito, kinonsolidate ng Korte Suprema ang tatlong petisyon na magkakapatid na Duterte. Pinasasagot din sa loob ng 24 oras ng kataas-taasang hukuman ang gobyerno at mga respondents kung bakit hindi ito dapat maglabas ng preemptory writ of habeas corpus.
Naniniwala si Vice President Sara Duterte na siya ang susunod na arestuhin ng International Criminal Court o ICC kasunod ng pagkadakip sa kanyang ama na si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dahil sa umano'y crimes against humanity. Ayon kay VP Sara, binalaan siya ng kanyang ina na mag-ingat dahil baka siya ang susunod na targetin ng ICC. Dati nang naiulat na kasama umano ang bise sa investigasyon ng ICC sa drug war dahil raw pinayagan nito ang tukhang operation sa Davao City noong siya ay nanilbihan bilang mayor noong 2016 hanggang 2022. Samantala, ayon sa Office of the Vice President o OVP, nakarating na kaninang madaling araw sa Amsterdam si VP Sara. Sinalubong siya ng tulong mula sa Dutch Foreign Ministry at Dutch National Police Corps. Binanggit din ng OVP na dadalo ng mga pagpupulong ang bise kasama ang mga abogado nito. Habang naghihintay nila sila ng pagkakataon na mabisita ang dating Pangulo na nasa kustodiya ngayon ng ICC.
Samantala, tinawag na mahinang alibay ni Senador Ronald Bato de la Rosa ang paliwanag ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ukol sa pagkaaresto sa dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Sinabi ni De La Rosa na Biyernes pa lamang ng nakaraang linggo ay may natanggap na siyang intel reports na may ilalabas na warrant of arrest ang ICC at kasama siya sa posibleng ipaaresto. Subalit may kapangyarihan niya si Marcos na tumangging makipagtulungan sa Interpol kung ang issue ay may kaugnayan sa International Criminal Court or ICC. Kwento pa ng senador, nag-usap sila ni Marcos sa Malacanang kung saan ginaransyahan umano sa kanya ng Pangulo na hindi siya kailanman makikipagtulungan sa ICC dahil kung hahayaan niya raw na makialam ang ICC kina Duterte at sa senador ay baka raw siya na ang sumunod.
Ako mismo, I can attest to that dahil sinabihan niya ako noon sa Malacanang na huwag ka mag-alala ba to, hindi ko papasokin ang ICC dito. Hindi, kahit na gabuhok mo, hindi mahawakan ng ICC. Pati si kahit nakalbo ako gabuhok mo, pati si Pangulong Duterte, hindi mahawakan ng ICC. Sabi niya, hindi ko papayag dahil kung papayagan ko yan, after the Dutertes, after sa inyo, who's next? Baka kami na naman ang imbestigahan ng ICC. Kaya hindi ako papayag, sabi niya sa akin. Pero ngayon, iba ang nangyari. In silver platter, hinatid talaga nanghiram pa ng private jet para ihatid lang si Pangulong Duterte doon sa dahig.
Oho.
Ibang sinasabi.
Oo.
So makakalungkot po na meron tayong Pangulo na walang isang salita.
Gayunman, kung may warrant of arrest, ang ICC ay handa siyang harapin ito at alagaan si Duterte sa pag-asang papayagan siyang tulungan ng dating Pangulo sa The Hague. Subalit, hihingi muna niya siya ng tulong kay Senate President Francis Cheese Escudero para bigyan siya ng proteksyon hanggat ito ay pinapayagan ng batas.
You have to face reality. Kung yan talaga ay may lalabas na warrant of arrest laban sa atin at ito'y talagang isi-serve sa atin, well, unang-una, I will avail of the protection that can be provided to me by the Senate as an institution, being a sitting senator.
Sa ibang balita, pinabulaanan ng Malacanang ang kumakalat na ulat na pinigil ng law enforcers sa United States si First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos. Sinabi ni Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro na walang katotohanan na hawak ng U.S. authorities si First Lady Liza habang nasa Los Angeles o ano pa mang lugar. Ayon kay Castro, dumating ng Maynila ang First Lady noong Lunes ng umaga. Si First Lady ay nagsagawa ng working visit sa Estados Unidos para lumahok sa Meeting of the Minds at Manila International Film Festival. Siya ay nasa Miami, Florida at Los Angeles, California mula Marso 5 hanggang 8. Noong Marso 11, pinangunahan ni First Lady Marcos ang turnover ng mga donasyon sa Girl Scouts of the Philippines sa kanyang tanggapan sa Maynila.
Itataas po ng East Zone Concessionaire Manila Water Company Incorporated ang singil nila sa bill ng tubig sa susunod na buwan. Batay sa advisory ng water company, itataas nila sa 65 centavos per cubic meter ang singil sa tubig. Katumbas ito ng pagtaas na 21 centavos kada buwan sa mga kumukonsumo ng 10 cubic meters 45 centavos sa mga gumagamit ng 20 cubic meters kada buwan at 90 centavos sa mga kumukonsumo naman ng 30 cubic meters. Ang pagtaas sa singil ng tubig ay dahil inaprubahan ng Waterworks and Sewerage System Regulatory Office ang pagtaas sa tariff mechanism ng distribution utility para sa second quarter ng taong 2025.
Susunod, Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te nangakong lalabanan ng China.
Russian President Vladimir Putin sorpresang bumisita sa Kursk.
At Russia naghain na rin ng kahilingan para sa isang peace deal. Detalye ng mga balitang yan at iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Ngayong Sabado sa Motorcycle Republic.
Happy International Women's Month! Ngayon, magra-ride kami papunta ng One Feather Plus Kitchen. Doon kami lagi actually, madalas kapag mayroong mga magagandang occasion like this.
Isasama namin kayo tuwing Sabado, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Let's live together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.
This don't have to be taxing. Join us as we sit down with the tax whiz himself, Mona Brea, founder and CEO of Asian Consulting Group, to break down the complexities of the Philippine tax system, recent reforms, and the biggest pitfalls MSMEs and online sellers should avoid.
We are open for business, but we need the government to realize it's costly to do business in the Philippines, and we need to improve that. The good thing there is we're open for improvement. We are amending. I think that's more than enough to assure our foreign investors that we will make your investments worthwhile.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos, Sunday, 9 p.m.
Sunday 25.
Iniulat ni Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te na lalo pang pinaigting ng China ang kanilang influence at infiltration campaign laban sa kanyang bansa.
过去这段时间，中国更利用民主台湾的自由与多元开放，吸收黑道、媒体、名嘴、政党，乃至于现退役军警，在我们的内部进行分化、破坏、颠覆等活动。
中国统战。
Sa isang meeting kasama ang mga matataas na opisyal ng Taiwan, sinabi ni President Lai na ginagamit ng Beijing ang kanilang puwersa upang maimpluwensyahan ang ilang miyembro ng kanilang bansa, kasama na rin ang ibang kriminal na grupo, miyembro ng media, pati na rin ang mga parte ng kanilang sangay ng militar at kapulisan. Dagdag pa nito na nagdodoble kayod ang kanyang pamahalaan na puksain ang mga ito mula sa kanyang gabinete at bansa. Ayon sa datos, nasa 64 katao ang kinasuhan para sa espionage-related crimes noong nakaraang taon lamang, na trumiple naman ang bilang kumpara noong 2021. Ang kinatatakutan pa nila rito ay halos lahat sa kanila ay naging opisyal ng kanilang militar. Isinusulong naman ni Lai Ching-te ang iilang panukala na magsisiguro ng mas striktong panunuri sa pagpasok at paninirahan ng mga Chinese citizens sa kanyang bansa.
中国近来借由广泛核发中国护照，利诱我国人申办中国居住证、定居证、身份证等，企图让台湾人民混淆自己的国家认同。中国也将两岸交流视为对台统战的管道，在台湾内部区隔敌我，分化台湾内部，削弱敌我意识，并意图架空政府公权力，塑造中国已经在台湾治理的假象。
只是言论自由的范畴。
Ilang beses na rin inireklamo ang mga ginawang paghamon ng China sa mga nakaraang taon mula sa military drills hanggang sa influence operations.
数十年来，中国并吞台湾、消灭中华民国的野心，没有一天改变过。不仅仅持续文攻武吓，对台湾社会的统战渗透也愈来愈严重。从2005年，中国颁布所谓的反分裂国家法，把武力并吞台湾视为国家任务；到去年6月，发布所谓的惩毒22条。 将所有不接受台湾是中华人民共和国一部分的所有人，都视为惩戒对象，作为伤害台湾人民的借口。每一个人的警觉与行动，就是对抗统战渗透最坚强的防线。只有团结，才能抵抗分化。只要每个国民都在国家的繁荣和安全的目标上扮演自己的角色，齐心合作，没有什么可以击倒我们。
预料呢？
Sorpresang binisita ni Russian President Vladimir Putin ang inukupan nitong Kursk region.
Все люди, которые находятся на территории Курской области, совершают здесь преступления против гражданского населения, противодействуют нашим вооруженным силам, правоохранительным органам и специальным службам в соответствии с законами Российской Федерации являются террористами. Так их действия квалифицирует Генеральная прокуратура России, и именно по этим статьям терроризм возбуждено против них уголовное дело Следственным комитетом Российской Федерации. Гвардейская мотострелка.
Ito po ay sa gitna ng pagkonsidera ng Russia sa panukala ng Amerika na 30 araw na ceasefire sa Ukraine-Russian war. Sa isang video na ibinahagi ng Russian State Television, makikitang nakasuot ng uniforme si Putin sa kanyang surprise visit sa headquarters ng kanilang frontline troops sa Kursk. Dito, ipinag-utos ni Putin sa kanilang tropa ang layunin ng Russia na ganap na palayain ang Kursk region sa lalong madaling panahon. Ito ang unang biyahe ni Putin sa Western region simula ng salakayin ng tropa ng Ukraine ang lugar noong nakalipas na taon. Nakikita naman ang pagbisitang ito ni Putin na magpapalakas sa moral ng kanyang mga sundalo kasabay ng pag-abanse ng mga ito sa huling remnants ng holdout ng Ukraine sa loob ng Russia.
Наша задача в ближайшее время, в кратчайшие сроки, окончательно разгромить противника, окопавшегося на территории Kurской области.
Samantala, sinabi naman ni Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov na masusing pinag-aaralan ni Putin ang panukala ng Amerika.
Вы знаете, что действительно состоялись GD-переговоры, и после этого и господин Волц, и господин Рубио сказали, что по разным каналам до России будет доведена информация. Вот этот процесс доведения информации до сведения России, он сейчас в действии. После того, как мы не через прессу, а посредством двустороннего диалога эту информацию получим, тогда наступит уже время обдумывания и формулирования позиций.
Nagbigay na ang Russia ng listahan ng mga kahilingan sa Estados Unidos para mapapayag ito sa US-Ukraine peace deal at para buhayin muli ang kanilang ugnayan sa Washington.
Мы внимательно следим и следили за состоявшейся 11 марта в Джиде встречей представителей США и Украины, мы ознакомились с принятым по ее итогам заявлением, в котором содержатся разные идеи. На данный момент никаких официальных обращений к нам на этот счет не поступало. Со своей стороны будем готовы обсудить изложенные там инициативы в ходе будущих контактов с американской стороной. Также могу сказать, что такие контакты возможны уже сегодня. И обязательно вас будем информировать по их итогам в зависимости от той конкретики, которой будем располагать.
Ayon sa kanilang pahayag, napag-usapan ito ng mga opisyal ng Russia at Estados Unidos sa kanilang mga face-to-face at virtual meetings sa mga nakaraang linggo. Ayon sa Russia, halos kapareho lang ito ng mga kahilingang ibinigay nila sa Ukraine, Estados Unidos at NATO noon pa man. Sa ngayon ay hindi pa isinasa publiko ang eksaktong mga kahilingan at tumanggiring sagutin ng Moscow kung bukas ba silang makipag-usap sa Kyiv bago pa nila makuha ang nasabing demand mula sa mga bansa. Matatanda ang una ng sinabi ng Russia na nasa kanilang interes kung aabandonahin ng Ukraine ang kanilang hangaring maging kaanib ng NATO, pipigilan ang pagpasok ng foreign troops sa kanilang teritoryo at tuluyan ng isuko ang Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson at Zaporizhia sa Russia. Noong nakaraang taon ay sinabi ni Russian President Vladimir Putin na dapat umatras ang Ukraine sa 4 na rehiyon na kanilang pinangalanan bago pa man magsimula ang negosasyon.
The presence of the troops from NATO countries under any flag in any capacity on Ukrainian soil is the same threat.
You won't accept it under any conditions?
Under any conditions, well, nobody is talking to us. They keep saying nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, but they do everything about Russia without Russia. Second thing is the rights and the fate of the people who live not only on the liberated territories, but on the territories under the control of the regime. They also, most of them, speak Russian. They were brought as part of the Russian culture. And they want their kids to know Russian and to learn Russian.
Sa Russia po, isang veteran war correspondent ang minultahan ng $6,900 matapos mapatunay ng korte ng justifying terrorism. Narito ang balita mula kay Kathleen Gao.
Minultahan ng isang Russian military court si veteran war correspondent Nadezhda Kevorkova ng 600,000 rubles o $6,900 noong Miyerkules. Ayon sa korte, guilty si Kevorkova ng justifying terrorism. Ang 66 na taong gulang na mamamahayag ay naging tagapagbalita ukol sa Middle East. May akda din ito ng ilang mga libro ukol sa Palestine. Inaresto si Kevorkova noong Mayo 2024 sa Moscow. Nanindigan ito na inosente at walang sala. Sa korte, ibinalitang sinabi nitong kailanman ay hindi siya sumuporta sa anumang organisasyong politikal ni sa anumang aktibidad panterorismo. Ayon sa kanyang abogado, ang kasi ay mula sa post ni Kevorkova sa kanyang Telegram channel ukol sa Taliban ng Afghanistan. Nasa terrorist list kasi ng Russia ang Taliban mula pa noong 2003. Tinanggal lang ito sa listahan noong nakaraang Desyembre. Dagdag ng abogado ni Kevorkova, ang pagbayarin ng multa ay maituturing na acquittal sa panahon ngayon.
Мы тоже переживали за это дело, и за надежду, и за возможный срок, который запросил прокурор. Но, слава богу, судья, я думаю, что услышал наши доводы, услышал отсутствие общественной опасности в целом, в чем обвиняли Надежду. И в целом для наших дней штраф по такому обвинению можно считать практически оправдательным приговором, поэтому мы довольны, и я думаю, что мы...
Ayon sa Reporters Without Borders, isang press freedom organization. Sa kasalukuyan, may 40 media professionals ang nakakulong sa Russia. Kathleen Ga para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Matapos ang halos isang araw na sagupaan, napatay ng mga puwersang panseguridad ang 33 mga umatake at ligtas na nakarating ang mga nailigtas na bihag sa Quetta. Nasa 440 na pasahero ang binihag ng Baloch Liberation Army o BLA nang salakayin ng militanteng grupo ang Jafar Express sa Balochistan region ng Pakistan. Pinasabog nila ang riles at pinaputukan ng tren habang patungo ito sa Peshawar. Nagbanta ang BLA na papatayin ang mga bihag na political prisoners at aktivista. Inangkin ng pinakamalaking armadong grupong etniko sa rehiyon ang pag-atake na nagresulta sa pagkamatay ng 21 bihag at 4 na sundalo. Mahigit 100 sundalo, special forces at mga helicopter ng militar ang tumulong sa pagsagip sa mga bihag na naipit sa malayong kabundukan. Nakatakdang bumisita si Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif sa lugar ngayong Huwebes.
Naglipa na ang pro-Palestinian protests sa iba't ibang universidad sa Estados Unidos. Ito po ay matapos arestuhin sa Columbian University student activist Mahmoud Khalil na mga ahente ng U.S. Department of Homeland Security noong Sabado. Narito po ang karagdagang detalye mula kay Michelle Verzonilla.
Noong Martes sa New York, may 100 mga demonstrador, kabilang ang mga estudyante at teachers ng New York University at ng City University of New York. Nagtipon ang mga ito sa Washington Square Park upang labanan ang pag-aresto kay Columbia University student activist Mahmoud Khalil noong Sabado ng Department of Homeland Security agents. Una si Khalil sa kampanya ni Pangulong Donald Trump na ipa-deport ang sinumang foreign student na sangkot sa pro-Palestinian protest movement.
The message is very simple. We're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to let them strip us of our First Amendment rights, our Fifth Amendment rights, or our 14th Amendment rights.
Si Khalil ay inakusahan ng pagsuporta sa Palestinian group na Hamas. Ang Hamas ay tinuturing ng US na isang terrorist organization. Subalit para sa mga abogado ni Khalil, ang protest activity nito ay protektado ng the First Amendment ng US Constitution. Samantala, isang kawanis na protesta rin ang naganap naman sa University of California, Los Angeles.
We just wanted to respond to the repressive tactics used against Mahmoud Khalil, who was like a Palestinian student activist in Columbia University. He was really foundational to their movement. The community really relied on him. He was one of the lead negotiators during the Gaza Solidarity encampment. He's been unlawfully arrested and basically held hostage by ICE.
Sa California pa rin, dose-dosena ang nagtipon sa UC Berkeley bilang suporta kay Khalil. Tinawag ng isang demonstrador mula sa San Francisco State University ang pagkakaaresto kay Khalil na isang aksyong fascismo.
This is point-blank fascism, and for America to call itself a democracy that thrives off of free speech and the First Amendment, that's not something we're going to stand for, and it's not true. Our First Amendment right gives us protected speech, no matter what it may be, and we're not going to stand for our colleagues and our brothers and our classmates that are being disappeared. We quite literally do not know where they were. Some people say he's in an ICE facility in Texas. We're not sure. It's something we're not going to stand for, and we're going to fight against it no matter what, because it goes against status quo, and it's a dive into fascism.
Aniya, ang pag-aresto sa mga estudyante ay upang pigilan ang mga ito na pag-usapan ang Palestine at ang pag-okupa rito ng Israel.
If they could arrest a permanent citizen, a permanent resident, a green card holder, then they could go for anybody. It feels like they will just bend the Constitution and bend the First Amendment to make it be whatever they want in order to persecute these students and to get them to stop talking about Palestine and against the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
Samantala, pansamantalang hinarang ni District Judge Jesse Furman ng Manhattan ang mga otoridad na i-deport si Khalil. Nag-schedule ito ng isang hearing. May kapangyarihan si Furman na iutos na pakawalan si Khalil mula sa detention kung nasalansang ang mga karapatan nito. Maaari masubukan ng kaso kung saan paghihiwalayin ng immigration courts ang kalayaan ng pamamahayag at ang pagsuporta sa mga itinuturing ng US na terorista. Kadalasang binabawi ang green cards kung ang isang individual ay napatunayang gumawa ng seryosong krimen. Ayon sa immigration law specialist, hindi batayan ang mga protesta at pananalita upang bawiin ang green card. Si Khalil ay hindi pa kinakasuhan ng anumang krimen. Michelle Verzonilla para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected on point.
Pinuri ng Ukraine ang usapan nito at ng Estados Unidos kamakailan ukol sa pagtatapos ng giyera laban sa Russia. Anyang iminungkahing 30 araw na ceasefire ay maaaring gugulin upang gumawa ng planong pangkapayapaan. Si Terlin Cunanan para sa balita.
Noong Miyerkules, sinabi ni Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky na nais niyang magsama ang US at Europe upang persihin ang Russia на бакасан на ангіра.
Я налаштований дуже серйозно. Для мене це важливо закінчити війну. Я хочу, щоб президент Сполучених Штатів Америки це бачив, щоб американці це бачили і відчували, і щоб Європа всі були в союзі, саме в союзі з тим, що треба зробити все, щоб примусити Росію до закінчення цієї. Ми готові до формату тиші на 30 днів, так, у тому форматі, який нам запропонувала американська сторона.
Noong Martes, inanunsyo ng US na itutuloy na nito ang military aid at intelligence sharing sa Ukraine matapos magkasundo ang US at Ukrainian officials sa Saudi Arabia ukol sa 30-day ceasefire sa pagitan ng Ukraine at Russia. Ani Zelensky, malaki ang naitulong ng pulong na ito na ginawa sa Jeddah.
Можна різні бачити результати в Саудівській Аравії. Відновлення допомоги, хтось в цьому побачить головний результат. Перші кроки до закінчення війни, хтось в цьому закінчить, а хтось в цьому побачить позитивний результат. Я вважаю, що сама зустріч Саудівської Аравії розбиває плани Росії щодо повної ескалації відносин між Україною і Америкою. Навпаки, іде деескалація.
Dagdag ng Ukrainian President, sakaling pumayag ang Russia sa 30 araw na tigil putukan, mapag-uusapan na ang hinihingi niyang garantiyang pansiguridad para sa kanyang bansa.
Але все ж таки про гарантії безпеки ми будемо говорити більш детально. Якщо буде тиша на 30 днів, то ці 30 днів виділяються саме для того, щоб покласти на папір. У нас є наші пропозиції, але покласти на папір погоджені кроки з нашими союзниками, погоджені кроки і формати тих чи інших гарантій безпеки, які будуть у Україні після закінчення цієї війни.
Hamon ni Zelensky, nasa Russia nakasalalay ang ikapagtatagumpay ng ceasefire proposal.
Не залежить все від того, чи хоче Росія припинення вогню і тиші, або вона хоче продовжувати вбивати людей. Сьогодні залежить від цієї країни сьогодні на 100%, тому що Америка продемонструвала свої кроки і свою позицію, Україна продемонструвала, відповіла без будь-яких різних тлумачень, дуже прямо свою позицію. І сьогодні Росії доведеться на це відповідати.
Terlin Cunanan para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Binatikos ang Germany ang tuntuning pangkalakal ngayon ng Estados Unidos. Anila, mali ito at nangangakong tatapatan ng karampatang sagot ng European Union ang mga taripa. Marjorie Quintos po para sa detalye ng balita.
Noong Miyerkules, tinuligsa ni outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz ng Germany ang trade policy ngayon ng Estados Unidos. Anya, ang kailangan ay mas kaunting hadlang sa kalakalan, hindi mas marami. Ayon kay Scholz, agad na sasagutin ng European Union ang mga taripang ipinatutupad ni US President Donald Trump.
Und lassen Sie mich im Blick auf die aktuellen Entwicklungen klar sagen. Wir brauchen weniger Handelshürden und nicht mehr. Deshalb halte ich die Zollbeschlüsse der USA für falsch. Und wir werden darauf angemessen und schnell reagieren. Die Vorschläge der Kommission werden wir jetzt prüfen. Dazu stehen wir in engem Kontakt mit der Kommission und den anderen Mitgliedstaaten. Die Kommission hat zudem deutlich gemacht, dass sie für Verhandlungen mit den USA bereitsteht. Das begrüße ich natürlich ausdrücklich.
Subalit sinabi rin ni Council President Antonio Costa na bukas ang EU sa pakikipag-usap sa US tungkol sa anumang hindi patas na pangangalakal. Binigyang diin nito ang deeskalasyon.
But if the United States believe that they are a real problem, then the good way to solve this is to talk. The good way to solve problems is to talk and to address the problems and find solutions. And we are open for this. Then we are answering in the family way, but we don't want to escalate. The good way is to de-escalate, talk, solve problems, and continue as good partners.
Samantala, sinabi rin ni Scholz na hindi aabandonahin ng EU ang Ukraine. Anya, tuloy-tuloy ang suporta ng EU para sa Kiev. Dagdag nito, nananatiling mahalaga pa rin ang tulong ng US para sa Ukraine. Marjorie Quintos para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Susunod, Italy niyanig ng lindol.
Blood moon matutunghayan sa mga darating na araw.
At mga female pop stars nangunguna po sa Billboard charts ngayong Women's Month. Mga detalye po ng mga balita niyan at iba pa mga balita sa pagbabalik pa rin na Mata ng Agila International.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka nang mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa new era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Ang mga maiinit na balita at rumaratsyad ang usapan ng bayan, ihahatid namin sa 100%! 100% ang pagbabalita! 100% talakayan! Lunes hanggang Biyernes! Alas 5 hanggang alas 7 ng umaga! Live na live sa Radyo Agila 1062 Mega Manila! At sa Net 25! 100%!
Sa Net 25, let's live together. Sa Net 25.
Niyanig ng magnitude 4.4 na lindol ang Campi Flegrei sa Italia. Ayon po sa National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, namataan ang pagyanig ng lupa. 2 kilometro ang lalim sa syudad ng Pusuli. Isang babae naman sa syudad ang nasagip ng mga bombero matapos itong makulong sa bumagsak na kisame ng kanyang bahay nang tumama ang litol. Sinuspindi na ng mga otoridad ang lahat ng pasok sa mga paaralan bilang pag-iingat sa anumang aftershocks.
Naudlot ang pahinga ng isang lalaki sa China matapos sumulpot sa loob ang isang tricycle. Sa pool sa CCTV ang ilang sandali bago ang insidente. Una, agad na mapapansin sa video na tumatakbo paalis ang mga pusa. Pagkatapos ito ay bigla na lamang pumasok ang sasakyan at dumiretso sa loob ng gusali. Buti na lamang at sa gilid nakapwesto ang lalaki at hindi sa kanya dumiretso ang tricycle. Batay sa inisyal na investigasyon, pinaniniwala ang nawala ng kontrol ang may-ari sa sasakyan nito.
Nagulat naman po ang mga mag-aaral sa Texas Tech University sa Lubbock matapos sumiklab ang berdeng apoy sa manhole sa loob po mismo ng campus ng pamantasan. Sa inilabas na anunsyo ng universidad, may nangyayaring pagsabog sa isang manhole sa campus nang nagdulot ng power outages sa pamantasan at Health Sciences Center nito. Kaugnay po niyan ay inilikas na ang mga estudyante malapit sa mga apektadong manhole. Ayon sa Lubbock Fire Brigade, pinaniniwala ang nagkulay berde ang apoy sa mga manhole dahil sa copper o iba pang elements na humalo rito. Naapula naman ng mga otoridad ang apoy sa campus.
Muling mapapanood ng mga eclipse enthusiasts sa North America at Canada ang blood moon na huling lumitaw taong 2022. Ito ay mangyayari pagkatapos ng hating gabi sa Marso 14 sa silangang bahagi ng Estados Unidos at ng Canada. Habang ang mga nasa kanlurang bahagi naman ng kontinente ay makikita bago maghating gabi sa Marso at 13. Ang lunar eclipse ay nangyayari tuwing matatapat na nasa pagitan ng araw at buwan ang Earth. Tinawag itong blood moon dahil sa kulay deep orange or red color nito. Paliwanag ng mga siyentipiko, naging kulay pula ang buwan dahil sa pagtama ng rays ng sun sa atmosfera ng Earth. May hahalin tulad din ito sa kung paano nagiging pula ang araw tuwing sunset. Masasaksiyan din ang pambihirang celestial event na ito sa New Zealand at ilang bansa sa Western Europe. Ayon sa NASA, hindi na kinakailangan ng kahit anong special glasses para matanaw ang lunar eclipse. Anila ang kailangan gawin lamang ay lumabas at tumingin sa kalangitan para mapanood ito.
Business transformation sa Europa. Yan po ang nais na gawin ng kumpanyang Ford. Ano-ano kaya ang hakbanga na gagawin ng US automaker na ito? Alamin po natin mula sa report ni Rosel Feria.
Target ng hayin ang negosyo nito sa Europa at makipagkumpetensya sa lumalagong electronic vehicle businesses. Dahil dito magbibigay ang Ford ng $4.76 billion na pondo para sa naghihingalong car manufacturing operations nito sa Germany. Ang capital injection nila ang makakaresolba sa overborrowing problems ng US automaker. At ito rin ang solusyon para sa isang multi-year business plan ng Ford sa Europa. Naniniwala kasi ang Ford na ang pagsasaayos sa German operations nito sa pamamagitan ng recapitalization ay makakatulong sa business transformation nito sa Europa. Ang dagdag pondo nila ay makakatulong din para sa paggawa ng bago nitong car product portfolio. Pero upang maging sustainable ang negosyo nito sa Europa, sinabi ng Ford na kailangang simplehan nito ang pamamahala sa kumpanya at kailangan din nilang pababain ang gastos. Nanawagan din ng automaker sa policymaker sa Europa na gumawa ng isang malinaw na agenda para sa promotion ng electric vehicles. Nais din ng Ford na magkaroon ng emission targets na alinsunod sa consumer demand. Maraming planta ng mga kotse ang napilitang magsara sa Europa dahil sa matinding kompetisyon sa China. Bukod dito ay nahaharap din ang European car industry sa Trump tariffs. Rosel Feria, Washington DC para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
One step closer na nga ang isang kumpanya sa Estados Unidos sa pag-perfect ng kanilang flying car. Alamin nga natin ang detalye kay Myla Simbulan tungkol sa Defying Gravity Car.
Gusto mo bang sumakay sa isang lumilipad na kotse? Posibleng matupad na ang pangarap mo na yan dahil malapit nang matapos ng US company na Aleph Aeronautics ang kanilang flying car. Sa isang press release, ipinagmalaki ng Aleph Aeronautics ang kanilang ultralight version ng Aleph Model 0. Kitang-kita sa video kung papaano lumipad ang kotseng ito sa ibabaw ng isang truck. Kaya umaasa si Aleph Aeronautics CEO Jim Duchovny na maraming tao ang gagamit ng lumilipad na kotse kaysa sa normal na sasakyan. Itong anya ay para maibsan ang traffic at para mas madaling makarating ang isang tao sa kanyang destinasyon.
The significance of this video is we really hope that it will be, will have a similar impact as the Wright brothers video in the sense that it proves to the humanity that the new mode of transportation is possible. It has the independently verifiable proof that that this new mode of transportation does work and does exist. And we hope it will start some kind of a new market, new economy for this new mode of transportations, which we call flying cars.
Dagdag ni Duchovny, pwede rin gamitin ang flying car sa search and rescue operations dahil kaya nitong puntahan ng isang lugar na hindi kaya ng helicopter o ng eroplano. Kaya rin anya ng lumilipad na kotse na mag-drive ng vertical at mag-landing sa gitna ng mga puno. Wala raw itong mga malalaking pakpak gaya ng eroplano. Dahil sa size nito, pwede ring daanan flawlessly ng lumilipad na kotse ang mga gusali. Sa kabila ng bentahe ng flying car, inamin pa rin ni Duchovny na mahal ang paggawa ng isang lumilipad na kotse. Gayunman ay ipagpapatuloy anya ng Aleph Aeronautics ang pagpuproduce ng flying car kahit paunti-unti ang kanilang car process.
It's hard to estimate when as far as the exact year, but I think it's going to be a very, very gradual process. It's good for many, many reasons to have gradual process. To get it to consumers so people slowly get used to it, see how safe it is, see how quiet it is, see the benefits of it, not only for themselves, but for example, for search and rescue vehicles. So it's a slow, gradual process where people are going to see 1, 10, 50, 100, and so on.
Tunay na napakabilis na nga ng paglago ng teknolohiya sa panahon natin ngayon. Baka bukas ay hindi lamang flying cars ang maimbento ng tao, baka pati flying motorcycles na rin. Kayo, ano ang gusto nyong susunod na ay maimbento ng tao? Myla Simbulan, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Sa iba pa pong mga balita, matatagalan na naman ang pag-uwi ng dalawang stranded na astronauts sa International Space Station o ISS matapos magkaproblema ang gagamiting rocket ng Crew 10. Ayon sa NASA, ipinagpaliban nila ang launching para magsagawa ng technical maintenance para siguruhin na ligtas ang Crew 10. Noong September 2024, nang dumating ang Crew 9 mission sa ISS, subalit dahil sa hindi inaasahang problema ay hindi na makauwi sina Suni Williams at Butch Wilmore. Batay sa schedule ng Space Agency, nakatakdang umalis sa Space Station ang dalawa sa March 19. Subalit, sa kabila ng hamon na kinakaharap ng NASA, malaki naman daw ang posibilidad na mababago pa ang petsa ng pag-uwi ng dalawang astronauts. Sina Wilmore at Williams ay kasama sa unang crew na sumakay sa Boeing Starliner. Ang Starliner ay nakaranas ng thruster malfunction habang patungo ito sa ISS.
Sisimulan na ngayong linggo ang pagdinig sa kasong homicide by negligence sa isinampa laban sa medical team ng namayapang football star na si Diego Maradona ng Argentina. Sumailalim si Maradona sa isang emergency brain surgery taong 2020. Naging matagumpay ang operasyon pero makalipas ang ilang araw ay namatay ang soccer icon dahil sa cardiac arrest. Maring itinatanggi ng mga defendant na may nagawa silang pagkukulang na naging dahilan ng pagkamatay ni Maradona. Samantala maraming fans ang umaasa na lalabas din ang katotohanan sa pagkamatay ng kanilang iniidolong football star. Sumikat si Diego Maradona nang maipanalo nito sa World Cup ang Argentina taong 1986.
Nanguna po sa mga music charts and streaming platforms ang mga kanta ng dalawang music icons na tunay na naglalarawan ng girl power. Noong March 7, isang araw bago ang International Women's Day, sabay na inilabas nina Lady Gaga at Jennie ng Blackpink ang kani-kanilang album na Mayhem at Ruby. Ang Mayhem ay umani ng 45.3 million na first-day streams at itinanghal bilang biggest female album debut sa Spotify para sa taong ito. Kasalukuyang nasa number 1 si Lady Gaga sa Global Digital Artist Ranking habang number 4 naman si Jennie. Nakamit naman po ni Jennie ang kanyang biggest streaming day of all time nang umani ang Ruby ng 33.6 million streams. Matatandaan nag-collab si Lady Gaga at Blackpink para naman sa kantang Sour Candy noong taong 2020. Samantala, nirelease din ng Blackpink member na si Lisa ang kanyang album na Alter Ego noong February 28 na umani na rin ng milyon-milyong streams. Sa huli naman po, magsisimula ang world tour ng Blackpink matapos ang ilang taong hiatus ng grupo.
Sa kabila ng pangunguna sa takilya, nangangamba ang Warner Brothers na baka hindi nito mabawi ang nagastos para sa bagong palabas ni Bong Joon-ho. Ang Mickey 17 ay isang sci-fi dark comedy na pinagbibitahan ni Robert Pattinson. Ito ay mula sa direksyon ni Bong Joon-ho, ang direktor ng pelikulang Parasite. Tampok dito ang kwento ng isang lalaking bahagi ng isang misyon na bumabalik kapag nasasawi. Ngunit nagkakaroon ng komplikasyon ng matuklasang may pumalit na sa kanya. Nanguna sa North American box office ang pelikulang Mickey 17 na kumita ng 19.1 million sa unang linggo ng pagpapalabas nito. Samantala sa ibang bansa, umabot na sa $34.2 million ang kinita nito na nagdala sa kabuoang pandaigdigang kita na $53.3 million. Gayunpaman, sa kabila ng pangunguna sa takilya ay malayo pa ang pelikula upang kumita. Tinatansyang nasa $118 million ang nagastos ang produksyon para sa pelikula, hindi pa kasama ang pondo para sa marketing at promotion. Upang mabawi ang kabuoang gastos ay kailangang kumita ang pelikula ng $275 million hanggang $350 million sa buong mundo.
Inihayag naman po ng Lego ang malaking pagtaas ng kanilang sales numbers sa nakaraang taon. Ayon sa Lego, nakakuha rin sila ng mga enthusiasts ng kanilang mga karibal. Dulot rin ito ng kanilang pagpapalawak ng kanilang product range upang manghikayat ng bagong customer. Pinuri din nito ang sales success ng kanilang Lego Botanical Sets na naging sikat na regalo para po sa lahat ng age groups. Lumaki ang kanilang sales noong nakaraang taon ng 13%. Sa kabila ng lasting success ng kanilang Harry Potter at Star Wars sets, ay inilabas din nila sa 2024 ang kanilang official Fortnite at Animal Crossing set. Sa ngayon po ay nakatayo sa Mexico ang pinakamalaking manufacturing site ng Lego. Subalit, sinabi lang, iniindi daw nila ang banta ng dagdagang taripa ni Donald Trump dahil hindi raw mabibigyan ng halaga ang kasiyahang dinadala ng kanilang mga laruan sa lahat ng tao. At narito po kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Magandang gabi po. Ako po muli si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki Alagao Flores. Ito ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nangyari rin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta naman tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Rikki. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for Net 25 World News on tonight's headlines. In a dramatic video message, former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has accepted full responsibility for his administration's controversial war on drugs. Take a look.
I will protect you. I will. Ako ang managot sa lahat.
And the news starts now. In a dramatic video message, former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has accepted full responsibility for his administration's controversial war on drugs. Take a look.
It's a long haul, it's a long flight. Okay ako. Do not worry. And I think this is something to do with the law and order noon. At sinasabi ko naman sa mga polis, military na trabaho kayo at ako ang managot. So ito na nga. For all the whatever happened in the past, ako na yung front sa ating law enforcement at military. Sinabi ko na I will protect you and I will ako ang managot sa lahat.
The former president underwent a medical examination before being assigned a private cell equipped with basic amenities such as a bed, desk, and bookshelves. As a detainee, he will have access to facilities not typically available to convicted prisoners, including conjugal visits, an outdoor exercise area, and unmonitored communications with his legal team. Duterte will join other notable inmates, including militia leaders from Sudan, Mali, and the Central African Republic. Despite the relatively comfortable conditions, defense lawyers have raised concerns about the availability of medical care outside regular hours. Russia has presented the United States with specific conditions to end the conflict in Ukraine and normalize relations. Now, these demands include Ukraine abandoning NATO membership aspirations, the removal of foreign military presence from Ukrainian territory, and global recognition of Russia's territorial claims over Crimea and other annexed regions.
Now we all eagerly await the Russian response and urge them strongly to consider ending all hostilities.
While discussions between American and Russian officials have been ongoing for approximately 3 weeks, uncertainty remains about whether Russia will engage directly with Ukraine before its prerequisites are satisfied. President Zelensky has demonstrated willingness to compromise by agreeing to a 30-day ceasefire, emphasizing that ending the conflict remains his priority, while calling for unified international pressure on Russia.
I am very serious, and for me it is important to end the war. I want the President of the United States to see it. I want Americans to see and feel it. I want Europe and all to be in alliance in order to do everything to force Russia to end this war.
А треба зробити все, щоб примусити Росію до закінчення цієї війни.
A ceasefire is not the same as ending the war, and Ukraine's objections have been that it may in fact be counterproductive, because putting in place a cementing of the front lines in their current position without any long-term guarantee of ensuring that the war will actually come to an end risks rewarding Russia by making the current zone of control permanent and freezing the conflict in place as opposed to resolving it.
President Trump characterized recent diplomatic efforts as successful but acknowledged the ultimate decision rests with Moscow, suggesting a successful ceasefire would represent significant progress toward ending the conflict.
Do you have a meeting with Vladimir Putin scheduled or a conversation? What would be your
I won't comment on that, but we had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire if it kicks in. We have to see. It's up to Russia now. But we've had a good relationship with both parties, actually, and we'll see. We'll be knowing people are going to Russia right now as we speak, and hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia. And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished. It's a bloodbath is taking place over there.
Despite receiving positive signals, President Trump expressed reservations about Russia's intentions, highlighting that substantive discussions haven't yet occurred and underscoring the potential global consequences of failure.
Are you confident that Vladimir Putin will keep the ceasefire, considering that he's broken them in the past?
We haven't spoken to him yet with substance, because we just found out and we just were able to get Ukraine to agree. So we're going to know very soon. I've gotten some positive messages, but a positive message means nothing. This is a very serious situation. This is a situation that could lead to World War III.
Meanwhile, President Putin continues to frame Russian actions in terms of defensive necessity, focusing particularly on securing the Kursk region and establishing a buffer zone along the border, potentially complicating ceasefire implementation.
That continues to fight here and to fully liberate the territory of the Kursk region, to restore our sovereignty along the state border, and we also need to think of a buffer zone around our state border going forward.
Some American officials expressed concern that Putin might leverage any temporary truce to create divisions between the United States, Ukraine, and European partners. Russia has consistently made similar demands over decades, seeking to restrict Western military influence in Europe while expanding its own regional power.
The one thing that we learn from previous practice in all of the instances where a ceasefire has been brokered between Russia and a victim of Russian aggression by an external power, whether it's France or Germany or the United States, in Georgia, in Syria, in Ukraine itself under the Minsk agreements, always we have seen that it allows Russia freedom of action and constrains the victim. So what we have to look for is whether this is going to repeat that same pattern and be entirely to Russia's advantage, or if, in fact, there is going to be an effort towards a real and lasting end to the conflict.
As international attention focuses on Putin's response to the ceasefire proposal, the situation remains fluid with significant implications for regional and global security. President Donald Trump has vowed to impose additional tariffs on key trading partners, including the European Union. And this comes after both the EU and Canada announced billions of dollars in retaliatory tariffs against U.S. goods following Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports.
We have been abused really for a long time, and we will be abused no longer.
President Donald Trump on Wednesday threatened to escalate the global trade war with new tariffs on trading partners.
More tariffs on the EU. Will you respond to their retaliation?
Of course I'm going to respond.
That's after the European Union and Canada retaliated against his 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports.
The European Union treats us very badly.
During a meeting with the Prime Minister of Ireland, Trump said it was among the countries abusing the United States.
The EU was set up in order to take advantage of the United States.
Including Ireland? Is Ireland taking advantage of the US?
Of course they are.
Canada, the biggest foreign supplier of steel and aluminum to the United States, announced its retaliatory tariffs on billions of dollars of U.S. products starting Thursday.
We will not stand idly by while our iconic steel and aluminum industries are being unfairly targeted.
Canada's Finance Minister, Dominic LeBlanc, said it was a dollar-for-dollar approach.
25% reciprocal tariffs on an additional $29.8 billion of imports from the United States. These tariffs are in addition to Canada's 25% counter tariffs on $30 billion of imports from the United States in response to U.S. tariffs put in place on March 4th.
The EU's countermeasures are due to take effect next month, targeting up to $28 billion worth of U.S. goods.
First, as of April, we'll automatically reinstate our current suspended rebalancing measures from 2018 and 2020, effectively targeting 4.5 billion euros worth of U.S. goods exported to us. And second, the Commission is taking decisive steps towards the package of additional countermeasures applying to 18 billion euros of U.S. exports to the EU.
Now let's talk about Elon Musk, the billionaire CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, and a close friend of former President Donald Trump. Musk is facing a lot of heat for his role in the Trump administration. Take a look.
Over the weekend, thousands of people across the U.S. took to the streets calling for Musk to step down from his government duties and for the shutdown of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk leads this department, which has been tasked with cutting government spending. However, his actions have led to thousands of federal employees losing their jobs, and that has sparked a lot of anger. But it's not just Americans who are upset. Protests have gone global, with demonstrations in Spain, Portugal, France, and the United Kingdom. It seems like people everywhere are fed up with Musk's antics. Critics say Musk doesn't get how this budget cuts. Critics say Musk doesn't get how this budget cuts will hurt everyday people.
The DOGE chainsaw is going to affect us all. It's going to defund life-saving research. It's going to threaten our economy. It's going to impede innovation, and it's going to kneecap an entire generation of scientific talent.
They argue that cutting funding for places like the National Institute of Health would undermine the very science that Musk benefits from.
I think people like Elon Musk don't understand that all the basic medicines that they are benefiting from, everyday life, science that they're benefiting from would be really hampered if NIH funding is cut. And we want medicine to be better, we want science to continue to contribute, and that is going to require NIH funding to not be cut.
The protests have turned violent in some places. Tesla dealerships and charging stations have been vandalized across the country. In Portland, Oregon, a dealership was even targeted with gunfire, damaging cars and shattering windows. In Massachusetts, several charging stations were also set on fire. Musk claims that billionaire George Soros is behind these protests, but he hasn't provided any solid evidence. Protesters say they're just fed up with Musk's decisions that have left so many people without jobs.
When you lose an income, it's painful. We've had conversations about what our future looks like. We have, as you can tell, we have a small home. But my husband and I have said if we need to downsize and get a, one-bedroom home or even a one-bedroom apartment, we'll do whatever we have to do. But it's hard. It's wrecking.
Just thousands of lives are turned upside down. Nobody really seen this coming. Even the people that did probably vote for Donald Trump. Elon Musk has basically taken over our government and has calling the shots, unfortunately, it seems to be.
For many, Musk has gone from being a hero of clean energy to a rogue billionaire who's meddling in politics, and not in a good way. In a dramatic display of friendship and support, President Trump and Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, took center stage at the White House. Trump, once a critic of electric vehicles, showcased his newfound appreciation for Tesla by purchasing a shiny red Model S. This move comes as Tesla's stock has been struggling and the company faces protests over Musk's political involvement. Trump's endorsement is seen as a significant boost for Tesla, which has faced backlash due to Musk's role in the Trump administration. The president went further by labeling those who vandalized Tesla outlets as domestic terrorists, calling Musk a patriot.
Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. You know, I've stuck up for the NFL. I've stuck up for a lot of American companies and other companies, but American companies.
This event highlights the deepening ties between Trump and Musk, with Tesla stock rising by 3.8% following the president's remarks. The unusual display of support from a sitting president has sparked both praise and criticism, with many questioning the ethics of such a public endorsement. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te has sounded the alarm over China's intensified influence campaigns and infiltration efforts against the island. In a press conference, Lai pledged to implement countermeasures to thwart Beijing's attempts to absorb Taiwan.
For decades, China's ambition to annex Taiwan and eliminate the Republic of China has not changed. Not only does it continue to threaten and intimidate, it has deepened its influence campaign and infiltration effort. From the so-called anti-secession law enacted by China in 2005, which views the military action against Taiwan as a national task, to the 22-point guidelines issued last June that impose punishment on people who do not accept Taiwan as part of China, using them as an excuse to harm the people of Taiwan.
Lai emphasized that China's actions constitute foreign hostile forces under Taiwan's Anti-Infiltration Act. He proposed 17 legal and economic countermeasures, including stricter reviews of Chinese nationals' visits and proposals to reinstate military courts.
Over the past period, China has taken advantage of the freedom and diversity of democratic Taiwan to absorb crime groups, media personalities, political parties, and even retired military and police, carrying out activities such as division, destruction, and subversion from within us. Recently, China tried to lure our people by widely issuing Chinese passports, allowing our people to apply for Chinese residency permits and identity cards as an attempt to confuse the national identity of the Taiwanese people. China also views cross-strait exchanges as a channel for its united front against Taiwan, trying to create divisions within Taiwan and weaken the awareness of friend or foe, undermining the government's power and creating the illusion that China is already governing Taiwan.
China, meanwhile, reiterated its stance that Taiwan is part of the mainland China, dismissing Lai's comments as irrelevant to the diplomatic issues.
First of all, Taiwan is a part of China. There is no president, and what you mentioned is not a diplomatic issue. What I can tell you is that no matter what the DPP, Taiwan's Democratic Progressive Party authorities say, it cannot change the fact that Taiwan is a part of China, nor can it change the inevitable event of reunification with the motherland.
As tensions rise, Taiwan vows to take proactive measures against China's influence operations. 2 South Korean Air Force pilots have been charged with criminal negligence after mistakenly bombing a village during a training exercise, injuring at least 29 and causing widespread damage. Take a look.
South Korean military investigators on Thursday charged 2 Air Force pilots with criminal negligence causing bodily harm.
In addition to the charge of criminal negligence during their military duties resulting in injury, some combat facilities or military facilities were partly damaged, so those kind of charges were also applied to the 2 pilots, as far as I know.
The incident injured at least 29 people and caused extensive property damage. The Defense Ministry's Criminal Investigation Command said the pilots' errors in entering coordinates were direct factors behind the accidental bombing.
The causes of accidental bombing were that putting in the coordinates was done incorrectly, not verifying that properly, and dropping the weapon without visually checking the target during the last phase of the fire.
8 unguided bombs from 2 fighter jets hit a village in Pocheon, during live-fire exercises. The area features training grounds used by the South Korean and U.S. militaries. A ministry official said that the 2 pilots have been removed from flight duties, and a review of their certification is scheduled. The Air Force Chief of Staff apologized last week and pledged to review procedures to prevent future incidents. North Korea, which often criticizes South Korean and U.S. military drills, said the accident highlighted the risk of conflict, noting the bombs could have dropped north of the border. An investigation into the incident is ongoing.
An American social media influencer, Sam Jones, has sparked outrage across Australia by posting a video of herself picking up a distressed baby wombat from its mother. Now, the video, which has since been deleted, shows Jones handling the protected marsupial, causing significant distress to both Joey and its mother.
They are gentle, lovely creatures. To take a baby wombat from its mother and clearly causing distress from the mother is just an outrage. And you know, I suggest to this so-called influencer, maybe she might try some other Australian animals. Take a baby crocodile from its mother and see how you go there. Take another animal that can actually fight back rather than stealing a baby wombat from its mother. See how you go there.
As a result, Australia's Home Affairs Ministry is now reviewing Jones' visa status, with many calling for her deportation. The incident has highlighted concerns over animal welfare and the misuse of wildlife for social media content. Jones, who describes herself as an outdoor enthusiast and hunter, has made her Instagram account private following the backlash. However, the incident has already garnered widespread attention, with over 13,000 people signing a petition demanding her deportation. The situation remains tense as authorities continue to investigate potential breaches of wildlife laws and immigration regulations.
A powerful 4.4 magnitude earthquake shook the Italian city of Naples and surrounding areas early Thursday morning, sending panicked residents into the streets and causing significant damage. Take a look.
The quake, which struck at 01:25 local time, was centered near the coastal town of Pozzuoli, just west of Naples, and occurred at a shallow depth of 3 kilometers. The tremor, one of the strongest to hit the region in decades, caused structural damage to buildings, disrupted power supplies, and left one person injured after being rescued from a partially collapsed house.
I was sleeping, and suddenly I heard a terrible bang. I had never heard one so loud. It was a very bad moment. Then, of course, when I got up, I turned on the lights and saw that my house is full of cracks. There are cracks everywhere.
Despite no fatalities reported, many families chose to spend the night outdoors or in their vehicles, fearing further aftershocks. The earthquake is linked to the seismically active Campi Flegrei region, a volcanic caldera known for its frequent seismic activity. Local authorities have set up a rescue coordination center to assess damage and provide assistance, with schools in affected areas closed for safety inspections. As Naples begins to recover, residents remain vigilant, aware that the region's unique geology could lead to more seismic events in the future. Eyewitness footage captured the dramatic eruption of Guatemala's Volcán de Fuego on Monday in the southwestern region of Guatemala. This volcano is known for its intense activity, spewing lava and ash into the air. The eruption prompted the evacuation of nearby settlements, with authorities warning that up to 30,000 people could be at risk. By Wednesday, the volcano had entered a less intense phase.
And the news continues here on Net 25. We'll be right back.
Thinking as a network, acting as one. A show about visionaries and their projects. Challenges that can be tackled together for a future worth living. Working for a more united world. Global Us.
SpaceX scrubbed the expected launch of a replacement crew of 4 astronauts to the International Space Station that would have set in motion the long-awaited homecoming of the 2 U.S. astronauts. Gabe Singer reports.
And that we can make a call in.
2 U.S. astronauts who have been stuck in space for 9 months will have to wait at least a few days longer to return home after SpaceX on Wednesday scrubbed the launch of a rocket carrying a crew that was meant to replace them, called the Crew 10. NASA was set to launch a SpaceX rocket from Florida to relieve Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams from the International Space Station, but the agency said the launch was called off due to a hydraulic system issue with a ground support clamp arm for the rocket. The astronaut pair has been stuck on the ISS for the past 9 months after NASA deemed that it was too risky for them to fly home on the Boeing Starliner craft they arrived on, which suffered propulsion system issues in space. NASA says Wilmore and Williams cannot leave until the new crew arrives in order to keep the ISS staffed with enough U.S. astronauts for maintenance. The Crew 10 flight would normally be considered a routine astronaut rotation. Instead, it has become politicized, as U.S. President Donald Trump and his advisor Elon Musk have, without evidence, blamed former President Joe Biden for the fiasco. NASA had moved the mission up 2 weeks earlier than planned under pressure from Trump and Musk, the CEO of SpaceX. NASA swapped a delayed SpaceX capsule with a different one that would be ready sooner. The agency now says that the next potential launch opportunity is no earlier than Friday evening, which would put Wilmore and Williams on track for a March 19th departure from the space station.
So space travel, it's rough on the human body, and we're just not built for it. Think about it. No gravity, crazy radiation, and it messes with everything. Basically, our bodies evolved for Earth, not space. So what happens?
For going to space, the main things that happen to people are there's an adaptation phase that happens right away when you get up to space. The components of that are some motion disturbances that can lead to basically a kind of motion sickness in some people, and then the other factor is after that are the process that your body undergoes to adapt to this new environment that doesn't have gravity in it. And in those areas where the bones support those large muscle groups, like in the hips and the low back and the legs, what we measure is reabsorption of the calcium in the bone in those areas. So that's one of the reasons why exercise is such a big component of any crew day on all the missions that we fly, because as soon as you enter that weightlessness environment, your body starts being responsive to that, and those the calcium loss and the strength loss and the loss of the ability to work, called aerobic capacity, those all start decreasing if you don't do anything to counteract it. Radiation has a number of effects on cells, but basically you're worried about it, depending on the kind of dose, breaking down the way the cells work and potentially introducing breaks and changes into the proteins and the DNA that's within the cell. So the good news is that we monitor this very closely, and we have the crew will wear basically a radiation dosimeter throughout each mission, and so we'll be able to understand more clearly the amount of radiation that they received. And we have some fairly defined and strict levels for the crew. We don't ever want them to get substantial amounts of radiation such that it substantially increases risks of concerning things like development of cancers and stuff like that.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Net 25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you for joining us. Before I go, a special shout out to Miss Ali Soto. Ali, thank you so much. And with that, we bid you goodbye. Good night.